Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to talk about training and what works and what doesn't work. And ultimately, the thing that I want to emphasize is that when we train, one of our goals needs to be to create and nurture a culture of care on farm. Because if our goal is to impact survivability, we need people who care. When you go to the doctor with a problem, what do you want? You want a doctor who's smart, who knows what they're doing, but don't you also want someone who cares? Who cares about you? Who cares about your prognosis? Who cares about whether or not you're going to make it? It is important that on farm we work to create a culture of care. So good news, everyone. I brought my training box here, and I have a group of volunteers that we're going to train today. So I think Rick Richard, he's so excited about coming up here, as is Chad Pilcher. He volunteered to come up here. Mike Diggs is also really excited to come up. You guys can start coming up since you're so excited. And Jennifer Ruby, you as well can also get up here. And Dr. Stewart, aren't you so excited about coming up and helping with my box? So if we're going to talk about training people, we might as well train people, right? Let's just get started and get it done. So if you all can line up right up here in a row. Yeah, Mike, I know. You don't have that face, that expression. You wanted to do this. Okay, like in a row, right here. Everyone line up. Very good, Dr. Stewart. You're doing very well. Okay, yes, excellent. Rick, yes, right next to Dr. Stewart. Mike and Jen, you guys can wave at everyone. Let's give them a round of applause. Isn't that great they're up here? Yes, excellent work, excellent work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to do some handling training here, okay? So I'm going to reach into my box. Oh, look what I brought. I brought my baby. Oh, isn't she beautiful? She's so sweet. She's just like her mother. I agree. Just so kind. Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do, everyone, she's very young. We're going to pass the baby, okay? So I'm going to take my darling child, and I'm going to pass it to you, Dr. Stewart. And she's, she may need burped. I don't know, just rock her back and forth. Oh, good job. That's so nice. You're doing such a good job. Can you pass it to Rick? Make sure he knows what he's doing, though. I mean, make sure yes, that's so good. Okay, now you can move. You can like bounce and rock her. Oh, she's happy. Okay, that's good. You can pass to Mike. Mike, you got this down. You've done this. Don't look at her that way. Okay, just 5 times. That's right. Okay, Mike, can you pass to Jen? Jen, be careful. Oh, Jen's gonna rock her. Look, she's got some skills. Isn't that wonderful? And Chad, don't be shy. I know. Okay, you got this. Oh, good job, Chad. That's so nice. Okay, I'm gonna take my baby. Oh, thank you. So I'm gonna put her back in the box. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. This right here is a stinky, smelly shark. It's gonna bite you if you don't pass it fast. Hold it far away from you. It also stinks. So you can't hold your nose. You're just gonna pass it. Okay, ready? Here, real quickly. Pass the jar. Go. Get it down there. Here. Okay. Don't hold it away. Okay. Whew. I'm glad no one got bit. That's good. No one got hurt. Oh my gosh. I tell my daughter every week to bring her gym shorts home, but these have been in her locker a year, and clearly there's mold growing on it. At this point, it's trash. So let's pass it down and throw it away. Okay, here we go. Handle it quick. Don't touch it very quickly. Go. Chad, throw it out. Woo! Okay. Good job, everyone. They're very trainable. They did a good job. Let's give them a round of applause. You guys can go back down. Yeah, excellent. Oh, wow. See, it's that easy. My talk's over. All right, we'll see you later. Here's the deal. What if I told you that everything I had in that box was a weaned pig? What if I told you that by my words and by my behavior, I changed how what we were holding was handled? When I referred to that pig as a baby that we were going to care for, We cared for it, didn't we? When I described that weaned pig as something that was dirty and stinky and might bite you, and gosh, thank God we didn't get hurt at the end of the day, we handled it that way, didn't we? And when it was something that was just expendable, discardable, throwawayable, we threw it away. Science shows that words predict behavior. If I tell my daughter, she's a slob, no, she is a slob. If I tell her that, Sylvia, you're a slob, go clean your room. The science shows that as a parent, I have the power to, by my words, predict what she's going to be like. Because if I constantly call her a slob, she's going to be a slob. On farm, before you teach anything, we need to assess what our words are. To the people, for the pigs. We need to look at ourselves and say, when I'm in the office, am I bad-mouthing all the people? They just don't care. We get people who cared. We'd save some pig lives here. Are we predicting? Are we making behavior happen by what words we choose to use? The science says it's true. Okay, how many of us during COVID times went on a family road trip, right? We were all kind of scared to get on airplanes and go a bunch of different places, so what we do, we threw the kids in the car and went on a road trip. And the kids in the back seat, they're happy for a while. So let's say we're driving down the road. We have Jack and Susie in the back. And Jack says, can't wait to get to Disney World. Disney World, here we come. And Susie says, oh, yes, I'm excited about Disney World. And then 15 minutes later, what does Jack say? Are we there yet? Well, no, we have about 12 more hours, Jack. Okay, yeah, all right. And so they keep driving. A half hour later, what does Jack say? Are we there yet? Now Susie, she's driving, she's from Illinois, and it's flat as a pancake, and as soon as she starts to get to southern Illinois and it gets a little hilly, she's like, whoa, holy cow, the world is like hilly down here. That's pretty cool, Mom. Yeah, look, can we go out for a hike? Jack's like, Disney World, we're going to Disney World. Let's get there. They drive through the Smokies. Susie's like, man, there's like mountains in the world. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. And Jack says, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Tire pops. Family vacation pulls over down the road. They have to get everything fixed. Entire trip right now is derailed until the tire's fixed. Jack is devastated. Absolutely devastated. Susie says, look over there, there's a playground. Let's go play. Let's go have some fun, Jack. Let's go. And Jack's like, we're never gonna get to Disney World. We're never gonna get there. Jack is focused on what? This end goal down at the end of the journey. And life is never gonna be okay. Never. Until we get there. Never. Susie's like, whoo, I'm here for the journey. I'm here for the trip. I'm going to try to enjoy things as we go. When we're talking about pig survivability on farm, we have so many people with lots of great ambitions. And when they get there, they're like, oh yeah, when that premature mortality gets to single digits, then we'll be doing great. Then we'll be happy with everyone on this farm. One of the things we have to be cautious of is when we're setting goals in relation to training. Because if we set something that people get rewarded when we finally get there at the end of the very long journey, but forget to celebrate things along the way, we're going to lose people. They're going to spiral out of control emotionally. They're going to feel like they don't belong. They're going to feel like it's not worth it to be here every day because it kind of is depressing. We're always never there. We're never there. We're never good enough. So one thing you need to think about very carefully when you're devising training programs is how are you going to measure success and when are you going to celebrate that success? Not just with the group, but with the individual participating in that group. You need to figure out if you are a value-focused farm or are you a goal-focused farm? And you can be a little bit of both. But if you're only a goal-focused farm, you're going to lose people. You're going to lose so many people along the way. They may still be present, but you're losing their heads, and most importantly, you're losing their hearts. Because values and behavior drive culture. And so one thing you need to ask when you're talking about training and what works and what doesn't work is, what are your values? And first of all, you need to look around you. Because on your farm, what are you doing first thing every day? What are people doing first thing every day when they walk on the farm? I'm going to show you 2 farms here. Sometimes I get called into systems and they'll say, Dr. Sarah, we want you to help us reduce our pre-weaning mortality. Come walk through some of our farms and we want your opinion on what we can do to be better. And so one thing I like to do is I'll say, okay, I'm going to be your new employee today and I'm going to have folks train me how to do some of their jobs. And I really want to understand, what are people doing first thing? And so I'm going to show you 2 different systems. On one system, as the new employee, I'm asked to walk in. We're going to do day 1 pig care. First thing we're going to do is slap this bracelet on our wrist. It's called our kill bracelet. If a pig is not the same size as the bracelet from flank to flank, we're going to have to euthanize them. That's our first job today, is we're going to walk through the farrowing house, and any small pig that doesn't make the mark, we're going to euthanize that pig. We're going to wear this bracelet all day long. Another system, I go in there, and my instructions are this. First thing, we want you to make sure every pig's in a safe spot. Newborn pigs, we want you to touch every pig. We want you to have a relationship with that pig. We want you to warm them and rub them down. And if the pig wants to live, your job is to help it try. Your job is to give it a chance. Of these 2 systems, which system do you think has the lower pre-weaning mortality? The slap on the where you're wearing your bracelet of death all day, or the farm where you get to touch every pig, hold them, warm them, rub them down, care about them. I'm not joking. This bracelet of death, I ran it into 2 large systems, not related. When you look at the pre-weaning mortality with the system, on the touch every pig system, make sure they're in a safe spot, single-digit mortality, pre-weaning mortality for a long time, not just last week. The other farms, the pre-weaning mortality is running in the teens to low 20s for long periods of time. What are your values and how are you having people live them on farm? Because it's killing pigs or it's saving lives. We need to look at ourselves hard and figure that out. So when you were a child, we all went to school and we were taught by teachers, right? And very often, how many of you learned your times tables? No one. No one learned their times tables? Are you kidding me? We all learned our times tables. We were so excited. The teacher would have us do drills, and at the end of the day, we learned those times tables, right? And because as children, we listen to that teacher, with that person standing up in front of the classroom, we zone in on, and we're like, yeah, we're going to take that in. Sometimes in the US, they even make us learn all the states and all the capitals, and we actually do it. But today, if I stood in front of you and I said, all right, today everyone, good news, we're going to learn all the countries of the world and the capitals and how to spell it. How many of you are super excited right now? Larry is. Most of you are going to figure out a way to slip out of the room, right? Children, we are this way. Our brains as children absorb information like crazy, right? Like sponges. Part of it is because of when we were cave people living in caves, the kids who are able to mimic adults. How do you make a fire? How do you hunt for food? Those were the kids that survived. The ones that were able to absorb that information from adults, right? but there's something that changes because there's that brain of a child that takes in anything and everything in because we're interested in a lot of different things. There's a moment when that changes, when our brains move from that of a child to that of an adult. Because, when I asked you guys to learn the countries of the world, everyone but Larry was going to leave because it wasn't within what you wanted to know. It wasn't relevant to you. And there's companies that study that sort of period of time that our brain changes from that of a child to an adult because it makes them money. That's why they want to know when it is, right? And those companies are car insurance companies, right? Because when we move from that of a child to that of an adult, we become better decision makers, right? We might zero in on what's important to us and not let as much in, but we become better drivers. And so there's companies that know when that period is and when we transition from a child to an adult. Learning in our brains is physiological. There is actually a living connection that moves from one side of the brain to the other. Our brains are beautiful, growing, interactive things. And guess what? Even as adults, we can grow new connections in our brain that change behavior. It's possible. It really is. So as an adult, how do we work towards learning? How do we influence adults to have a strong connection that remains in their brain but also changes behavior on farm? Let's talk about this. Certain hormones and chemicals must be present in the brain for that strong connection to occur. And there's a whole bunch of them, but one of them that I find interesting, because you as a teacher have a little bit of influence over it, is adrenaline. Now, adrenaline at high levels for mammals, we know, here's the other thing, is that adrenaline, it's optimized when you stimulate it early on in a teaching event. You know what that's called when you're a writer? It's the hook. It's the answer to that person immediately of, what's in it for me? And so if you're training someone and you're teaching someone and you're building the case from the ground up, slowly coming to that final conclusion, which you're going to deliver because you gave them all the information and it's just so exciting. But if you save that for the very end, you've lost everyone. Because if the person sitting there doesn't understand what's in it for them, they're not even going to listen. Adrenaline is also tricky because at the right level, you lean in, you listen, you're attentive, right? But at the bad level, as a mammals, we do one of three things. We freeze, we run away, or we play dead. And even in a human audience, we do that. Some people have their phones out, and you're like, okay, I'm done with Dr. Probst. All right, no. That's our way of moving on because it's not relevant to you as a human. And when you're a teacher, one thing you need to be very careful of is where people are, because feelings impact whether people can learn. When a person is angry, anxious, embarrassed, fearful, resentful, depressed, too excited, frustrated, they're in a state where their brain can't form a new neurological connection. So one of the things you, as trainers, as people influencing people on farms, you have to check in with how people are feeling. Because if you don't know, you may be spending all this time training a person who can't even hear you, who can't even physiologically form a connection in their brain. So it's really important to figure that out. Sometimes we try to train people by putting words in front of them, but the science shows that a person is only about 10% competent after they read something that we've very carefully written out and taken the time. And as a vet, gosh, I wrote a lot of awesome herd visit reports. Some had tabs. It was amazing. Those 10% competency results from writing something out. So you might call that person afterwards and say, okay, hello, I want you to follow up by this and da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. And they may say, yes, no problem, yes, no problem. But the science shows that if you do that, if you only talk to a person, that person is likely only going to be 20% competent on that task. And so if you call that training, that's just checking the box. That's not training. Because if this person goes to the farm and they see Joe doing the task a certain way, guess what? As humans, peers trump everything. That person is going to do what Joe did, but not well. If they just observed it from around the corner or not as the person doing it with Joe, they're only going to be about 30% competent. So let's say we have that person watch a demonstration or watch a video. That's kind of cool. That gets a little bit better. People get to be about 50% competent. But if you're a company that only watches videos, you're only 50% competent. Videos do not change behavior, and I make a lot of videos. So I'm telling you the truth here. If you just watch all the videos we ever made, you're not going to be a good pig person. That's not how it works. It's not how training works. What that person needs to do is, after they watch that video, after they see it, after they're immunized by the task, by that visual, they need to go and do the task. If they just go and do the task afterwards, right afterwards, they can be about 70% competent. But what's even better is if they do that task with the written word alongside them, or better yet, pictorial visuals, and they do the task with another person, and at that point they can be about 80% competent by that mentorship. Now that's cool. So how do we get to that? We're at a B. We're at a B level. But if we want to be that A student, what do we need to do? If that person goes to the barn with another person and has the opportunity to teach it to the other person, they get to be about 95% competent. And our research on farm would show that that competency can last 2, 3, 4 years after that investment. So it's not just about watching videos, folks. It's not just about writing SOPs. If you want to train people, you have to invest the time in giving them a visual, a demonstration, either via video or via live demonstration. Invest in mentorship directly after that experience, where they go to the barn with a mentor to do the task with that mentor, showing them how to do it, giving them opportunities. But where it is as far as measuring whether or not your team is competent or not, you need to send people in who has verifiers who say, today I'm your student. Pretend I'm a new employee and teach me how to wean pigs. And maybe they have that checklist with them that says, when I put pigs down, they need to have 2 legs on the ground. And maybe they're checking things off. But they are being 100% receptive to that individual and giving them the opportunity to teach. And if you even start that person at the beginning before they watch that video or before the demonstration, and you say, you're going to have to know this well enough that you have to teach it back, guess what happens? Little bit of adrenaline. They lean forward. What? I have to learn this well enough to teach it back? Then you're using the science of how adults learn to reach people. So when you're working to train people on farm, we need to make sure that you're giving them a visual experience or demonstration, followed by the opportunity to do the task, ideally with a mentor, and then the opportunity to pass their knowledge on to another person in a way that's real and that's measured. Thank you very much.